Hello, my name is Gemma, and this is your podcast, Cosmic Woman. Make yourself feel right at home. Allow your heart to expand and your mind to be at peace. We are all one. That's why this is an invitation to listen with your whole being, as if it was you telling your own narrative. Make each episode an opportunity to ask yourself, who am I being as I listen? I bring this podcast to you with so much love and devotion. That love that is you. I'm not here to tell you what so many others already do. Exercise, connect with nature, meditate, eat this, avoid that, drink more water, and so on. I do not disregard those suggestions, but this episode isn't about them. There's so much information out there that sometimes we no longer know what we truly enjoy or whether what we like is the same as what truly feels good to us. It becomes confusing, a sea of advice lacking empathy and genuine concern. No, I'm not here to add more tasks to the frantic to-do list we already carry in our internal RAM, those things we hope someday not too far off to finally get to. We already burden ourselves with so many self-imposed expectations. No one forces them upon us. We do it ourselves in that endless pursuit of becoming better, of pleasing this person or that one. What I am here to do is to share my own experience of reclaiming my health. It's not that I had lost it and found it again. No, the truth is that if I had titled this episode, Take Responsibility for Your Health, you might not have been drawn to it. The word responsibility tends to trigger allergic reactions in many. Few of us take proactive responsibility for our health these days. Instead, we hand it over to so-called experts, a crowd that mushroomed in 2020 and still leave us wondering who they actually are and where are they. Recovering health doesn't necessarily mean recovering from illness, although that too. It also means engaging in prevention and improving the holistic system of body, mind, and spirit that we assume is fine, but might not be. We've simply grown too accustomed to carrying discomforts we've labeled normal. And I'm not just talking about physical health, about sculpting our bodies to meet outdated patriarchal beauty standards. I'm speaking of true, holistic, complete well-being. Health that sees the body as a vehicle for the soul and a temple for the spirit, with self-love as its divine standard, one of transcendence and joy. Health that honors the mind as a source of wisdom when aligned with the source, and as a heavy, tormenting ego when it pulls you out of your center. The ego tells you stories to keep you up at night. It talks about the past as if it were happening now and warns you of futures that never come. And all the while, it keeps you grounded in the present because someone once said, the moment is now, even though you have no idea what that actually means. You meditate for an hour in the now only to find yourself thinking about what you do later or what happened a month ago. And yet, you've been present. So present, in fact, that you forget true presence. Health that acknowledges emotions as a primary cause of mental and physical imbalances, whether expressed because we don't know how to manage them, or unexpressed because we swallow them down, storing them for another lifetime. Meanwhile, the killer slowly lodged in clumps of cellulite and abdominal fat. Health that sees both the soul and the ego and understands that the more ego there is, the more illness. The more soul, the more lightness, well-being, and joy. Health that above all cares for the energy field we truly are, recognizing that we are consciousness and vibration. From that vibration, everything manifests, shaping a reality that mirrors the quality of energy we embody. Health is not merely physical, it's also mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic. In this episode, I share my own experiences with the transformational tools I use daily for well-being, health at all levels, and spiritual awakening. not with an agenda, but with the hope that it reaches whoever it's meant for, and those for whom this episode was destined. If you're still listening, thank you, and congratulations on making it through the filter. There are wounds that are not physical, and if left unattended, we risk making them part of our identity, slowly draining the soul. We all carry the wound of disconnection from the whole, that sense of being alone, abandoned in an overwhelming and often hostile reality. This primal wound, present in all of us, if not properly managed, creates dysfunction from the very beginning. I believe we chose to come here, voluntarily, as divine sparks, to experience that separation, but for the divine spark, which is one with the all and as powerful as the universe itself, being a fractal of it, to incarnate, it must accept certain limitation in order to experience the dual reality of separation. This descent in density means that the divine spark, the conscious part of you, takes on divine attributes in the densest form. And from that density, we learn to live in this world with enjoyment, accepting life as it is, embracing the process as something beautiful, knowing we are only passing through. We are not life itself. It does not belong to us. We are life. We don't own the transformation process. We are the process. We don't need to get anywhere. We already are everything we seek to be. We learn not just to live with the wound, but from the wound, using it as a teacher to grow and to accompany others. It is only through self-knowledge that we can transform pain and wounding into self-compassion, self-understanding, and love for others. In this world, everything has polarity, cold and hot, and everything in between. Everything has an opposite again, cold and hot. Consciousness is all of it, and that all includes the full spectrum between those opposites. But to experience it, it must define itself as something either cold or hot, for instance. The same happens with all soul virtues, for example, love. Consciousness is everything across the polarity of separation and integration, assuming integration is the opposite of separation. We all carry everything between those two poles, but in order to experience that range of perception on earth, the soul chooses a specific degree. Let's say that the frequency of integration ranges from 1 to 100, 1 being total separation from the all and 100 being full integration or non-duality. A soul might choose to experience a level like 45, which is closer to separation than to integration, and that is what it has come to live through. We all are the same soul, experiencing life through different bodies. Each of us is here to embody a particular aspect of a soul virtue. It's part of the soul's journey to experience that for a lifetime, or to elevate it, moving forward a less dense level of separation. For example, shifting from 45 to 65, that's what we've become to call evolution, learning, or transformation. But we already are the full range, but the limitations each soul chooses mean we incarnate with a frequency, a soul index of say 55, for example, and it is the soul's choice to either stay there or evolve towards integration. These limitations of each soul or divine spark are represented in the birth chart in astrology. Your natal chart is a map of your soul, but a mutable one. It is not given to you so that you identify with it and become it. It's there so that you might understand your soul's desires, what it came to experience, and from there elevate those experiences to the highest frequency, giving your soul a more expanded view of its journey here on earth. That's the game, to realize you are not your ego, and from there allow your soul to experience freely without interference. To get out of the way, essentially, so your soul can explore. For example, if your moon is in Cancer, as mine is, your emotional needs, represented by the moon archetype, are likely to be projected onto others as a deep need to be loved and nurtured by those around you. It is your task as a disciple of eternal consciousness to mature your natal moon and find that nurturing within yourself, to become your own inner mother instead of projecting emotional needs onto others or expecting them to give you the affection you crave. This moon maturation is a process of deconstructing childhood patterns, those that were created when the ego began to form and the lunar defense mechanism kicked in. As adults, we still operate through that lunar mechanism, reacting in relationships like children, searching outwardly for what we haven't yet found within. Maturing the moon in Cancer, in particular for this example, will take you as far as you are willing to go. If fully matured, this process will not only help you learn how to self-nurture and hold yourself emotionally, it will also turn you into a vessel of containment and nourishment for others and for humanity. This only happens when the ego is left behind, when control is released, allowing the lunar archetype to fulfill its role and express itself fully on this plane. The biggest obstacle for this is the ego. It appropriates and claims the qualities of the moon and its own acting through that same old lunar defense mechanism, which is utterly useless to us as adults. Many other factors influence how this moon mechanism plays out, but for simplicity's sake, I'm focusing here solely on the sign in which the moon is placed at birth. Maturing the moon is fundamental for your emotional and mental health, as these childhood patterns can wreak havoc in your relationships and inner balance. In astrology, the process of moon maturation is really the dissolution of the ego, a deep inner work on shadows, limiting beliefs, early programming, and the breaking of societal patterns imposed by moral, structural, and ideological norms. This inner work is essential to become the self again, not through the limitations of the ego, but through the conscious limitations chosen by the soul in order to experience its unique earthly path. Astrology, therefore, becomes one of the most powerful tools for self-knowledge because it connects us with who we are and who we are meant to become through consciousness, one with it. This process of soul individuation is what we've mistakenly called evolution, because in truth there's nothing to evolve, only to dissolve, in order to become what we already are, a true mystical transformation in constant motion. Another deeply valuable tool for emotional and mental well-being and for the disintegration of the illusory self is flower therapy. With flower essences, the process is beautifully aligned with astrology, offering a therapeutic system that supports the individuation journey that your birth chart reveals. Flower essences, vibrational preparations containing the quantum signal of each flower, work with your electromagnetic field to help you reach balance in the soul virtue you are meant to unfold according to your chart. They help you vibrate closer to your highest expression and thus to the frequency of your true self. It is a graceful and effective way to soften and dissolve the ego. The mind, the ego, plays a crucial role in all of this as it constantly tries to take ownership of what you're experiencing, weaving stories about your process. That's why it's so important to quiet the mind, the one that steals your presence and turns every moment into a personal drama. This mind, which identifies with every story, also tends to identify with illness, making it a part of who you believe you are. For me, meditation alone hasn't been enough to silence the mind. With such an active mental landscape, meditating can sometimes feel like a struggle. What has helped me is following a spiritual path that gives me the tools to understand, observe, and release the ego strip. The non-dual spiritual path of Kashmir Shaivism has been the most complete I've found. It's direct, non-linear, and non-progressive, which the ego doesn't like. The practices and sacred texts of this path gradually liberate the egoic mind from obsessive thoughts and repetitive patterns. They also free the body from emotional heaviness and attachments that block your ability to see beyond them and connect with your true self. Another essential tool I use daily for physical, mental, emotional, and energetic well-being is scalar energy. The scalar wave device I built myself based on Tesla technology emits a frequency range similar to the ether. Without going into much technical detail, it surrounds you in a bubble of scalar waves that reach deep into every cell, with the capacity to eliminate parasites, fungi, viruses, bacteria, and even astral larvae and entities. It works on the premise that all disease originates from parasites. Remove the parasites and you remove the root of all types of illness. For me, these four sciences and practices have become essential to life: self-knowledge and the recovery of health on all levels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Astrology to know and understand myself, flower essences to lovingly support my transformational processes, Kashmir Shaivism to offer a spiritual path and focused practice for my energetic health and awakening. Scalar waves to strengthen physical and mental health, creating a radiant, magnetic, and energized body. It is both a duty and a right for each of us to reach a state of inner sovereignty, taking full responsibility of our health, mental clarity, physical care, and emotional regulation, and above all, for our energetic state, because the quality of our energy will determine how everything else functions. In these times, we cannot afford to put our well-being into the hands of people who do not truly care about what's best for us. It is the time to seek out what truly serves us, to become independent in every sense, less reliant on a patriarchal, decaying, and giant system that no longer serves us or represents us. In the age of the meta-human, with Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius, we can no longer place our being at the mercy of a dehumanized world. It is time to get the reins of life, health, finances, and spirituality. As I mentioned at the beginning, I haven't included other practices here, such as diet, exercise, meditation, and so on, because there is already too much information out there. But of course, they are also important when discussing a full return to health, and each person can choose what they want to do to improve their life. Here I only share a bit of what I do and at the same time what I offer to have a healthier and more fulfilling life. In summary, get to know yourself through astrology. Use flower essences as a loving accompaniment to the dissolution of the self. Embark on a spiritual path in a non-dual way that shows you how to reach the true self with active and constant practice applied to your everyday life. Have a set of scalar waves in your home so your body shines with health and detoxes. If you're interested in any of these practices, you can get in touch with me. I can help you with any of them or connect you with the people who can. The world is changing, and we cannot survive if we are not aligned with the heart. All of these techniques help me achieve this. Thank you for joining me and giving yourself to this experience. You can find all platforms for this podcast in the description, so please subscribe to the ones you like the most. Your essence is cosmic. You are a celestial being, a cosmic traveler, a vessel for the light and pure consciousness. With all my love.